Hello. In case you haven't met me, my name is Robin Harris of Equenergy Wellbeing Naturally. And Equenergy is a kind of play on words. It comes from a combination of equilibrium, so balance, and energy, because I believe that when we can bring our energies back into balance, we experience well-being in a very natural way. Hello, I have a question for you today. What are your thoughts and your beliefs around self-care? Are you somebody who thinks, oh, I just don't have the time. I don't have the energy. Self-care can be so expensive. Or are you somebody who thinks, I'm just not comfortable in putting myself first and in making that time for self-care? I've got so many other demands on my time. I've other people that come first in my life. I'm not comfortable with putting myself first. Or do you think I've got my self-care sorted? Thank you. I book in for a massage and I take a nice warm bath with a glass of wine and a few candles. Yeah, I've got my self-care sorted. Or do you think, well, yeah, I have a nice bath now and again, and I put on some nice music, have a glass of wine, light some candles, and I might have a massage once a month or so, but it doesn't really do all that much. So actually, I don't engage in that sort of self-care as much as I used to. Any of these resonating? So I just wanted to kind of address some of these myths around self-care. First of all, I was saying that sometimes we feel it's just too much energy. I don't have the time. I just can't seem to fit it into my diary. My schedule is just so packed. It takes too much time, too much energy and effort to be trying to fit something else in there. So I just wanted to say that self-care, real, radical self-care, doesn't have to take much, if any, more time in your day. Real, true, deep, radical self-care is actually just a part of everything we do. Just to shift our perspective and to shift where we're coming from in how we do things. And so often we do things from our headspace. We do things by thinking about them and doing them, versus from our heart space and just letting them flow. Much more about being and less about the doing from a yang energy, that kind of sense of, well, I've got so many things to do and I just need to tick them all off my list. And then self-care just becomes another tick box exercise. Did I have that warm bath? Did I have a glass of wine on Friday night? Did I book in for a massage in this month, perhaps? Versus, did I live from my heart? Did I make that choice from my heart? Did I really listen to what my body was telling me and follow through with my gut instinct and my feelings on that choice or that action? Did I come from that place of doing, that place of heart-centered, heart-led, and that space of really listening to what my needs were in that situation? Or did I just rush through it? So when we can come from our heart space, when we can listen to how we feel and tune into our intuition, it doesn't necessarily take more time. Initially it might, because we might need more time if we're not used to doing the tuning in and we're not used to listening. It might take us a little bit more time to get out of the headspace and connect in with our heart. But once we've done that more and more regularly, it becomes so much easier. It becomes a part of our normal everyday practice. And when we can do that, when we can be coming from the heart space, that in itself just is self-care. It's coming from that energy of listening and tuning in and grounding, which is so caring and nurturing and nourishing of ourselves, versus the yang energy, the pushing, the resisting, and the just tick boxing, that at the end of the day we can feel exhausted and drained. So it doesn't have to take more time. It may take a little bit more practice, but once we get into that flow, it is so much easier. We're doing all of the things in one. We're not doing and then having self-care. The doing, the way that we're doing, is self-care. And then I was saying that we might have that impression, that belief, that it's not right to put myself first. I've got other people I care for, my family or whoever that might be, and maybe in a caring role at work, all of these things, that those people can come to be top of our list. We're no longer up there in that first position. We ourselves have slipped down the list somewhere. And that is okay in the short term. And of course, there are times when maybe you are caring for a sick child, that they are a very high priority. But even then, if I'm not taking care of myself, that saying of, if I don't fit my own oxygen mask, I'm not going to be able to fit the other person's, and I can't pour from an empty cup. These sayings are so well known and so strong because they are true. They are so valid. We need to be taking care of ourselves, or we're not able to take care of others in the way that we would want to. So when we can nurture and nourish ourselves, we have so much more to give. We show up in a much more heart-centered, caring, supportive, loving way, not only for the other person, but for ourselves, and not only for ourselves, but for the other person or persons, whatever or whoever they might be. And then expensive. Self-care doesn't have to be expensive. If it really is coming from the heart space and it's how we're living, that's, again, not something extra that we're doing. It's not something that we pay for. It's just who we are being. We are really deeply listening to ourselves, really deeply hearing the needs that we might have. So whether that's a need for rest, a need to take a drink of water, I'm dehydrated, I need to take a drink of water, I need to take care of myself, or I need to eat right now. I can't just dash off and do the next thing on my list. I need to take some space and time to eat, and to eat mindfully, to eat consciously, not just to shovel the food in and run, because that's not supporting myself and my well-being. And knowing that if I don't support myself and my well-being, if that becomes my everyday way of being, my everyday way of operating, then I am setting myself up for that having a real impact on my well-being. And that's going to affect how much I'm able to be there for other people. So it keeps on coming back to filling my own cup being so important. And I've written a blog about self-care. True self-care is not selfish. It's actually the best gift that we can give to anybody else. It's caring for ourselves, and when we show up our best selves, we show up without attachments, without neediness, with great liberation and freedom and joy and love. And these are the vibrations that we bring then to everybody else. And our cup is full, and we feel it's joyful to give, rather than, as it can end up sometimes if we're just giving all the time and we're not filling our own cup, it can feel uncomfortable and we get resentful about the fact that we're giving, and then where's mine? Where is the giving to me? And also to know that self-care doesn't then mean, oh, I'm giving to myself and I'm giving to everybody else who takes care of me apart from me. Self-care can also be, we can ask for help. We are open, we are free to ask, and we can ask from that position of not being needy. We can ask from knowing that I have my boundaries. I know that I can say no if somebody asks me for something that I am not able to give at this time, or I need to take self-care, and that's my time for self-care, and it's ring-fenced, and I am putting myself as a priority. I will do what I can for the other person who's asking me for support, and I will do it at the time that works for both of us. But I do need to refill my cup too. So when we are living in that space and we are asking somebody else for support, we're also giving them permission to do that too, knowing, trusting that there will be a reciprocal energy there. There will be a flow. There will be giving and taking in the right balance. That if they need to say no right now, that's okay. And we will find a way to still be supportive of each other in a way that works for both of us. Sometimes as well, I was saying that we can think self-care is the fluffy stuff. It's the warm bath, it's the glass of wine, it's the candles, it's the chilling in front of the movie. And that's not to say that that's not part of self-care. Of course it is. If those things build you up and they support you and they help you to recharge, wonderful. But there is so much more to self-care than that. Real, deep, radical self-care, that true listening, that being heart-centered and heart-led, that's where self-care really has the traction, as you hear in some other circles, but that's where we start to have the vibration that just puts that out to the universe, to the world, to all those that we come into contact with, to ourselves, that draws like a magnet more of what we want to be grateful for, more that we are holding gratitude for, gratitude being another wonderful part of our self-care practice. But gratitude as well can be fluffy, and we can get into the habit of, if you keep a self-care, if you keep a gratitude journal, gratitude diary, sometimes if we're not really being conscious about it and not really digging deep, because there are times when it's hard, it is hard sometimes to find things to be grateful for. And we can end up just saying, oh yes, I'm grateful for my house and I'm grateful for my warm bed, because they're there. Hopefully, most of the time, for most of us, we do have these things. We have a roof, we have 4 walls, we have food to eat, we have a warm bed to sleep in, but it's more than that. And when those things, when we just are reeling off the same things to be thankful for every time, we're not doing it consciously anymore. It's just a way to do again. It's not a way of being. And it's just, again, a tick box exercise. But when, in the times when it's hard even to be thankful for those things, and in the times when it's very difficult to find anything to be grateful for, the digging really deep, the being really challenging of ourselves. What can I be grateful for in this situation that seems so dark and seems so hopeless? I've been following a little bit of Jeff Foster, who is a most amazing mentor, coach. I don't know how he would describe himself, but he shares the most amazing way of being. And I think his website is called Life Without Limits, something like that. But he's been going through some deep, deep health challenges recently. But the way he's approaching it, the way he's still, even in his kind of, his posts sound quite angry and frustrated and desperate, but he's still being there, digging deep, being real, being conscious, being honest and open and raw, and still, in a sense, finding something to find gratitude of a kind for, even if that's all his supporters and people are rallying around and having known him and known his energy are wanting to be there for him and to hold him and hold a space for him as he goes through his journey currently. So even in situations like that, being able to find things to honor, to celebrate, to respect, to be grateful for, that kind of radical self-care, that being able to just say to people, I need to go deep. This is hard. This is painful. I need to go deep, but also, please, I need your support. And that's what he's doing. And people are there. People are wanting to give support. So asking for support can be a gift to the other person or people in this case. So we don't, as I was saying, have to be there for ourselves with no other support, just I'm filling my cup and I'm giving to everybody else. It becomes reciprocal. It becomes the energy that we're giving out, the vibration that we're giving out, coming back as well. And being open to see that and being grateful for that, that being the gratitude. So it's so much more, it's so profound, a radical self-care practice. But in that sense, is so supportive and uplifting and becomes sustainable, even in the face of deep, deep challenges. So if that is of interest to you, if you would like to know more, I am running a workshop and it's this Sunday, the 1st of August, from 10 until 1 here at Equenergy Wellbeing Naturally. And I'm based in South East Wales. So it's here on site. If you would like to know more about a radical self-care practice, what that might mean for you, how do you go about it? What does it look like? And it will look different for every individual. So how do you discover what it is for you? How do you tune into that? How do you start to listen to your body? How do you start to move away perhaps from the tick list, from the doing, and from the thinking that self-care is an added extra and maybe an optional added extra, because it really isn't. If you want to support your well-being, if you want to support it long-term going forward, and with all the changes that are taking place in the world at the moment, if you want to still be engaging in self-care and learning how to be grateful and loving life and to feel those feelings of being liberated and free and joyful, then come along to this workshop, because those are the things that I will be sharing. So again, it's this Sunday, the 1st of August, from 10 in the morning until 1 o'clock. And I will share a link after this. I will stick it up as a visual for you to see the link, and I'll stick it in the post as well to find out more information and also to book tickets through the wonderful See No Bounds website and directory. So that was all I wanted to share for now. If you've got any questions, feel free to contact me. I'll stick my contact details on the visual that's about to come up next as well. And I hope to see you then. Bye.